Researchers from ETH Zurich and the Swiss Federal Laboratories for Materials Science and Technology (EMPA) have set a new world record. They 3D printed complex objects with a higher cellulose content than that of any other additively manufactured cellulose-based parts. To achieve this, they used a clever trick. Trees and other plants lead the way. They produce cellulose themselves and use it to build complex structures with extraordinary mechanical properties. That makes cellulose attractive to materials scientists who are seeking to manufacture sustainable products with special functions. However, processing materials into complex structures with high cellulose content is still a big challenge for materials scientists. A group of researchers at ETH Zurich and EMPA have now found a way to process cellulose using 3D printing so as to create objects of almost unlimited complexity that contain high levels of cellulose particles. To do this, the researchers combined printing via direct ink writing (DIW) method with a subsequent densification process to increase the cellulose content of the printed object to a volume fraction of 27%. Their work was recently published in the Advanced Functional Materials journal. The ETH and EMPA researchers are admittedly not the first to process cellulose with the 3D printer. However, previous approaches which also used cellulose containing ink have not been able to produce solid objects with such a high cellulose content and complexity. The composition of the printing ink is extremely simple. It consists only of water in which cellulose particles and fibers measuring a few hundred nanometers have been dispersed. The cellulose content is in between 6 and 14% of the ink volume. The ETH researchers used a trick to densify the printed cellulose products. That is, after printing a cellulose-based water ink, they put the object in a bath containing organic solvents. As cellulose does not like organic solvents, the particles tend to aggregate. This process results into shrinkage of the printed part and consequently to a significant increase in the relative amount of cellulose particles within the material. In a further step, the scientists soaked the objects in a solution containing a photosensitive plastic precursor. By removing the solvent by evaporation, the plastic precursors infiltrate the cellulose-based scaffold. Next, to convert the plastic precursors into a solid plastic, they exposed the objects to UV light. This produced a composite material with a cellulose content of 27 volume%. Using this method, the researchers were able to manufacture various composite objects, including some of the delicate nature, such as a type of flame sculpture that is only 1 millimeter thick. However, densification of printed parts with wall thickness higher than 5 millimeters lead to distortion of the structure because the surface of the densifying object contracts faster than its core. The researchers investigated their objects using X-ray analysis and mechanical tests. Their findings showed that the cellulose nanocrystals are aligned similarly to those present in natural materials. The printed parts are still small, but there are many potential applications from customized packaging to cartilage replacement implants for ears. The researchers have also printed an ear based on a human model. Until such a product could be used in clinical practice, however, more research and clinical trials are needed. This kind of cellulose technology could also be of interest to the automotive industry. Japanese car makers have already built a prototype of a sports car for which the body parts are made almost entirely of cellulose-based materials.